tried to tell Mr. Foster that I was a prince in Africa and that my father, the king, would pay him for my return twice, 3 times what he had paid for me.
Go on.
Mr. Foster paid no attention to my words, except to mock me. From that time, he called me Prince. Eight months before, I had left Timbo as Prince of Futajalon and commander of its armies. I was torn from my family, from my wife and my son. I had traveled a great distance, and now my journey was at an end.
I await the much-needed mare and a 1-year-old chicken. Today at the market, I purchased 1 sack of salt, 1 lady's horseskin mitts, and 2 Africans. They'll clear the north fields, down by the old barn.
Slaveholders seasoned their new slaves, forcing them to learn English, stripping them of their customs and identities. The Africans, many of whom were Muslims, were kept from practicing their religion. Those who resisted were severely punished.
I don't want to hurt you, but I will if I have to. Come on. Come on.
The first order of business for Thomas Foster was getting some new clothes and a haircut for his new African.
Moving ahead. Stop.
This meant, of course, cutting off the long hair that he wore, an ornament of great beauty in Futajalon. And Abdul Rahman told a friend, under normal circumstances in his own country, he would have parted with this hair only with his life.
Here he is, sheared of his hair, which was a sign of their nobility, and forced into menial labor.
Abdul Rahman refused to clear the fields. Defiance, in turn, brought the whip and deepened his resentment. He saw only one way out, and he took it. Announcements of Abdul Rahman's escape were posted at the fort, at taverns, and all public places. Boatmen were alerted for river crossings, and slave hunters searched the thick woods. But no trace of the tall African was found. Days stretched into weeks.
All efforts to ascertain his whereabouts proved unavailing, and after a while, inquiry was abandoned. Major Steve Power, decorated veteran of Natchez.
Abdul Rahman had no place to go. He realized his return to Futajalon was impossible. Half-starved, exhausted by sleepless nights, he struggled to come to grips with his past, the battles he had waged, the men he had lost, and the slaves he had traded.
During the isolation of being alone in the wilderness, it dawned on him that he is no longer a prince. He's no longer a warrior. From that point onwards, his dignity was based on his ability to master the circumstances that he was in.
Someone brought up in Futajalon believes that on the day you're born, God knows and numbers every day of your life. And this fate, however cruel it seemed to him, was part of a divine plan. His resignation to the will of God was demanded.
After weeks on the run, Abdul Rahman returned to Foster's farm.
Thomas Foster's wife was named Sarah. The story that her granddaughter told was that she was sitting in her home sewing when she looked up and saw Abdul Rahman standing at the door. He lay down on the floor and put her foot on his neck. Now, that was a sign in West African warfare of submission, and it often preceded a spear thrust to the heart. He was showing in his action something that he didn't have the words in English to say, and that was, "Here I am. If you want to kill me, go ahead. I'm back."
When captured, most runaway slaves faced harsh and merciless abuse. But the voluntary return of his mortgaged slave came as such a financial relief that Foster imposed no punishment.
At this point, he resigns himself to his fate, doing whatever jobs Foster assigned him and beginning his new life in America.
Mississippi planters are but a plain, practical body of men. They would rather gaze upon an acre of cotton than upon a magnificent garden. Still, planters are not devoid of taste. It is just to their desire to make it yield interest rather than beauty.
Though not well educated, Thomas Foster was a shrewd businessman who capitalized on Abdul Rahman's knowledge of cotton grown in Fouta Jalon.
Foster got into the cotton business early. The indigo was attacked by insects. In the case of the tobacco, the price supports were lowered, and Foster was wise in moving into cotton.
Abdul Rahman's familiarity with the crop enabled Foster to plant on a large scale, producing almost 16,000 pounds of cotton in his first year. The Fosters quickly became one of the leading cotton families in the area. As the farm swelled to a sprawling plantation, Foster purchased more slaves, paying this time with hard cash, and counting on Abdul Rahman's natural leadership to get the most from his investment.
I hereby sell to Thomas Foster without further obligation or mortgage 4 slaves, all natives of the United States. Isabella, 25 years of age. Jacob, 10 years of age. Anaki, 5 years of age. And Lamanique, 2 years of age.
Prince?